Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the month of March. It's the 1st of March. So para sa inyong katulad ko na ang relo ay disusi pa, better check your calendars because you just lost 2 days because there's actually 3 days actually. There is no 29, 30, and 31 in February except on odd year. But in any case, it is March 1. It's a Wednesday. I thank God that the sun is beginning to shine brightly here in Barrio Capitolio because I have to confess it's been a rough last 2 weeks for me, and I will share part of that sometime in the program. Hindi naman po tayo yung direktang tinamaan pero apektado tayo. But today is a Wednesday, as I said, and in case you are making plans, just be aware that the summer days are beginning to happen. The heat has started to affect everybody. Kasama na po ako dyan. Last night at 10 o'clock, I was literally bathing in my sweat. So, lalo na para sa mga seniorly, ay mag-iingat kayo for dehydration, etc. And I am sure you will start having issues with your sleep. Adjustment lang po sana yan. Okay, let's go with our daily starter. But before that, thank you to our viewers. Thank you to our subscribers of Cignal TV. Thank you for watching us on Facebook, on YouTube. And of course, thank you for your prayers. Our daily starter is from the book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verses 15 to 16. Be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity because the days are evil. Now, this daily starter has many applications, okay? It can be as simple as carelessness, not checking whether you have fuel in your car, not checking if you lock the door, or watching your step, etc., to something more serious as the company you keep. I remember that I was once invited to an event, and then I just casually asked who's going, and which I always do anyway. And I found out that they were people, it was a mixed group of people with very different agendas. And I said to myself, parang mabuti nang umiwas. But before I did that, I prayed, I read the Bible, and the Lord said, to keep the counsel of the Lord, do not keep the company of people who are not aligned with God. So hindi na ako pumunta. And true enough, we have to be really wise. Wise with the company you keep. Be wise with your schedule. I know people, I have friends who have been living there. Sabi nila, there's a saying, do not live your life by lighting both ends. Okay, kumbaga sinasaid mo, inuubos mo ang oras mo. Be wise. Be wise with your schedule, with your money. Be wise with your children, your spouse, etc. So that's our daily starter for today. Let's now go quickly lang to the front page of the Philippine Star, and let's go look at the news for today. The headline is Senators to Government Delay Jeepney Phase-Out Plan. Ayan na naman po. Yung mga politiko, tinuturuan na naman yung pamahalaan what to do. Okay? And once again, they are telling government to delay. May nagsabi, 1999 pa raw ito eh. Na-delay since 1999. I think that's more than enough delay. Okay? House approves hybrid CONCON on second reading. the House of Representatives will try to pass a modified version of the Chacha, and they are revising their proposals, and we will see. Pero it's not over until the fat lady sings, as they say in America. Now, DILG taking steps versus attacks on local executives. Okay, so ayan po, pinag-usapan naman po natin yan kahapon. Interior Secretary Benhar Abalos has assured the public that his agency is taking steps to protect local officials amid the recent spate of shootings in the country. Okay, so siguro dapat yung mga politicians ang tanggalan ng baril, hindi yung MILF. Sila lang naman na nagbabarilan. Time to prioritize maritime industry. President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos, speaking at the Philippine Maritime Industry Summit 2023 at Manila Hotel, yesterday said the Philippines is the world's primary source of maritime manpower and it is time to prioritize, okay, the industry, given that it brings a total of $6.71 billion in remittances just for 2022 only. Okay. Meanwhile, top photo of the front page of the Philippine Star, a row of the soon-to-be extinct jeepney Nigorio, okay? Jeepneys parked and being serviced, but that's all in preparation for the week-long strike daw next week, okay? Meanwhile, President Bongbong Marcos is featured in the front page photo of the Philippine Star as he troops or pass the honor guard during his visit to the Benito Ebuen Air Base in Lapu-Lapu City, Cebu. Okay. Meanwhile, the Philippine National Police seeks to join forces with the Coast Guard and the Navy. Paano yun? Kasi di ba dati magkasama sila yung Maritime Police, then pinaghiwalay na sila, magsasama sila ulit. Maybe just for cooperation. Okay. World Bank ADB as investment partners to boost Maharlika attractiveness, according to Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas Governor Felipe Medalla. Question is, if the locals don't want it, why would the World Bank and the ADB be interested? We will see. Okay, T. Hanky reappointed to WTO. Okay, President Marcos has reappointed lawyer Manuel Antonio Tihanki as the Philippine representative to the World Trade Organization. And last but not the least, still looking good, okay? We have a photo of our philanthropist Ricky Reyes and Hans C., SM's chairman for Executive Committee, while presenting the Center for Child Improvement and Life Development, or Child House, launched its Taos Puso book, which tells the story of how the center was founded. Okay, yan po, si Ricky Reyes, up to this day, tumutulong pa rin. And I know people who have worked with him and of course with Mr. Hansi, and they are the genuine article. Okay, that's it. And let's now go to the main part of our program, and I have to confess I'm very interested in it because unfortunately in the last 2 weeks I have had 3 friends who entered the list of cancer patients. Medyo one has leukemia, the other one has throat cancer, and another one medyo it's not quite clear because she's Australian, and we essentially got a goodbye letter from her to all her friends, and Iba po yun. Iba ang dating po noon when you know, it's different when a friend tells you I got cancer and you still believe you can do something about it. But when someone sends you a goodbye letter, I've never had a goodbye letter like that in all my life. And when Gabriel told me that we were going to be talking cancer, I said, let's dedicate the entire show to the discussion. Baka naman may matutunan tayong lahat. And it will help us to live wise in terms of our health. Of course, some cancers you just can't explain. But anyway, let's talk about our topic today. Gab, if you would, please roll out the intro video.
Dr. Joseph Fuentes is the Colorectal Surgery Section Head of the Rizal Medical Center. He is also a consultant surgeon for various hospitals in Metro Manila. Fuentes serves as treasurer of the Philippine Society of Colon and Rectal Surgeons.
Okay, before anything, thank you to Director Dr. Rica Lumage of the Rizal Medical Center for this cooperation so that we can present different medical topics and experts. Lagi ko pong sinasabi yan, ako po ay pag ako ay magkaroon ng diferensya, God forbid, doon po ako sa Rizal Medical magpapatingin and public hospitals. I've been going to public hospitals for decades na po, no? Okay, let's go to our guest, Dr. Joseph Fuentes. Doc, good morning.
Good morning, Sir Cito, no? And thank you very much for this opportunity and hello sa mga tagapakinig and tagapanood ng ating program.
Okay, Doc Joseph, hindi ito Q&A ha. Kilala mo naman ako, ang style ko, kwentuhan lang. Pero I have to confess, medyo loaded ako this morning emotionally because of what I just shared earlier. Now, could you explain your field of specialization, yung colorectal? Kasi parang, alam mo, pag sinabing rectal turn off sa mga Pilipino yan. Pag sinabi mo namang colon, tusok puwet, sinasabi ng mga kanto boy, ano? Pero ano ba talaga yung colorectal na yan? Can you explain that to us, please?
Yeah, thank you, Sir Cito. Ano? So, yung colorectal surgery started out, parang proctologist talaga yan. So, tama, sa puwet and everything. And then the field developed na ang specialty namin is sa bituka na-include na yung bituka, particularly yung large colon, and then yung rectum na part, which is the distal part ng colon natin, and then pati na rin sa puwet, no? So it's a specialty ng general surgery wherein we took the general surgery na training. About 4 or 5 years yon, and then we further specialize into this. So that's another 2 years of specialty training sa colon, rectal, and anal operations.
Mm-hmm.
So
Doc Joseph, pagtitingnan kita, para kang Filipino version ng ano ba yun, yung artista, yung British actor na Jason ba yun o something. Why would you go? Why would you go into colorectal? Parang sa dami-dami naman ng specialization, tusok puwet pa pinuntahan mo.
It's a very rich field, Sir Cito, no? So ang dami naming, so from benign to malignant na mga conditions hinahawakan namin, and we are involved from diagnostics, no? So meron kaming mga ginagawa, nagko-colonoscopy, we do different types of operation, we see patients sa clinic afflicted with conditions yun nga sa colon, sa rectum at saka sa anus. So it's a very very rich and busy na field. So of course, being a colorectal surgeon really involves a multidisciplinary na team. So we don't work as ourselves lang. We get involved with the medical oncologist, with the gastroenterologist, no, with the family medicine doctors, even the OB-GYN. So lahat 'yon napapasukan namin, and to a certain degree, we are involved with the management of their patients.
Okay, you have to excuse me, nagpapatawa lang ako at the beginning kasi medyo, alam mo, ang Pilipino, they get turned off when, they talk about rectum and colon, you start with, hemorrhoids, di ba? Yung mga isang area, turn off na kagad yan. And then pag sinabi mo pang proctologist, I remember in the 60s, that was the biggest turn off title. You're a proctologist. You look up people's sweat, di ba? Yung mga ganon. But in reality, when I think about it in all seriousness, you must have a heavy burden given the fact that you are one doctor, you are probably the last doctor that most people are comfortable seeing, and then by the time they get to you, what is the usual diagnosis? Because tago, nasa bituka, it's inside, it's at the bottom end of things. The patients that come to you, are they often, wow, I got a problem already, you should have come to me earlier?
Yeah, Sir Cito, most of the time kasi what the patients that we get are referrals. Very seldom yung darating sa amin with their primary complaint. But tama ka, no, most of their complaint are related to the bottom down there. No, so karamihan is sakit ng puwet, mayroong dugo sa dumi nila, or yung mga ganong complaints ba. But nevertheless, since medyo advanced na rin naman tayo, a lot of the patients that we see are referrals from primary physicians. A lot of them meron na rin mga diagnostic tests na we interpret, no? But yes, we see patients na talagang darating having complaints related to their bottom.
Okay.
Most of the time, ganun ang ano nila. And unfortunately, marami sa kanila has long been parang medyo delayed na yung mga presentation nila kasi they have been treated for like for example, ina-attribute lagi yung sakit sa puwet, yung dugo sa puwet for almoranas. And lo and behold, when we examine them properly, meron palang bukol doon. So, marami tayong nakikitang ganyan.
Nasishock ako with this data that's being flashed on the bottom of the screen. 17,000 cases of colorectal cancer recorded in the Philippines for 2020 alone. So, hindi biro. Now, could you just walk us through your field of expertise? Kasi alam ko yung colon cancer, nadidinig ko yung colonoscopy, hemorrhoids, etc. Pero what really is colorectal when you talk about it? Can you just kind of separate things for our viewers?
Okay, when you say colon kasi, yung colon kasi natin is about 6 feet yan, ano. So yan yung parang pagkatapos ng small intestine, then the colon starts. Kung nasaan yung appendix natin, and then siguro may mga segments yan. And then towards the end, yung mga 15 centimeters bago dumating sa puwet, yan may tinatawag na rectum. Okay? And what's peculiar about yung colon cancer is dyan kasi nai-imbak yung dumi natin. So dyan medyo stagnant yung waste. And that's probably the reason why mas maraming colon and rectal cancer as compared sa mga small intestinal na mga cancer sa small intestine kasi mas mabilis yung transit ng waste or yung mga material doon, no? So in terms of anatomy, ganun yon. And then you also have yung anus naman, yung pinaka labasan naman ng dumi natin. Ngayon, in terms of this incidents na we are seeing a lot, particularly yung incidents, they tend to be younger na. And siguro yung reason din is because yung awareness natin has been increasing din in terms of yung education natin for this condition. But definitely, as we become more industrialized, nagbabago din yung diet natin, yung lifestyle natin, and then yung advances din ng technology in detecting colorectal cancer. That's the reason siguro ganyan kadami yung mga cases natin. In fact, sa atin, it's about 4 na cause ng cancer deaths No, if you look at sa Philippine Cancer Society na data, it's a fourth leading na cause of cancer deaths sa Philippines. In the United States, it's about second, no, across the board na cause ng cancer deaths. So it's really a big problem, and there's really a lot of work to be done.
Okay, from what I've been reading, and I guess, I in that sense, medyo praning ako, no? What I've been reading is that the biggest suspect are processed foods, alcohol, sugar, etc. But, tao-tao lang tayo. Mabuti na yung magtanong kay Doc, sabi nga nila, no? So, Doc, what really are the causes of colon or colorectal cancer? Namamana ba ito? What is the highest prevalence? What is the principal suspect?
Okay. So, majority talaga dyan are what we call yung sporadic, and it's mainly lifestyle related, yung mga, of course, yung mga processed na mga meat, yung mga processed food. Siyempre, nowadays, day in, day out, almost every day, we eat mga hot dogs, diba, bacons. It's really part of a Western diet, no? Kahit sa Filipino, hindi na nga tayo yung mga, before yung mga lolo't lola natin, it's just kamote and yung mga ganyan, Nowadays, talagang laging may hot dog, no? Lagi nang merong mga processed na mga meat. And kasama talaga yan. And of course, yung mga unhealthy lifestyles like what you mentioned nga, yung alcohol, yung smoking, which is of course related din sa mga unhealthy din na diet natin and lifestyle. And secondly, yung isa din is na-identify dyan. So that's lifestyle related. And of course, what we look into as well when we talk to patients with newly diagnosed with colon cancers, we look at their family history. So if you have a family history of colorectal cancer, that puts you into a parang moderate risk ba in developing colorectal cancer yourself. So yun yung mga tinitingnan natin. Meron din
meron tayong kilalang pamilya, sikat na pamilya in Quezon City na parang colon cancer, lahat yata nung angkan nila, puro every generation or every branch of the family nagkaroon ng isang victim ng colon cancer. Now, is that a genetic anomaly most of the time or talagang luck of the draw lang yun?
Exactly, no? That's really evidence-based, no? Proven talaga yan na meron talagang genetic predisposition for colorectal cancer. In fact, as I mentioned, when we see patients newly diagnosed case ng colorectal cancer, we ask about yung family member na merong colorectal cancer. Of course, yung age, kung kailan na nag-develop yung colorectal cancer for that family member, it's very important. Especially yung mga age less than 50 years old na nag-develop ng colorectal cancer, yung family member, that actually is parang a red flag na itong patient na to might have a genetic predisposition, no? Although hindi very common sa atin to send patients for genetic testing, but of course in other countries that's what they do. Pag meron sila, we create parang pedigree.
Good that you mentioned that, because when my sister got breast cancer, I don't know how they came about it, but my sister, my wife, and the daughters all talked about this genetic testing. So nagpa-test nga, and nakasulat na doon, may predisposition ang families ninyo sa ganito, sa ganito, sa ganon. So parang sabi ko, wow, is the world that advanced already, doctor?
Yeah. Meron din, kasi meron din type ng colorectal cancer na ang tawag namin yung Lynch syndrome. Although it's not very common, about 5% lang yan. But what we call it yung hereditary non-polyposis colorectal cancer, wherein ang clue lang namin is that they have a family member with like breast cancer, ovarian cancer, uterine cancer, who develop at an early age, and then ngayon they are presenting with a colon cancer or an advanced na polyp in their colon. So yun yung mga patients na binabantayan namin, and kung merong available na genetic testing, and then we'll send them. Although these are very expensive tests and it's not readily available in the country, but we do counsel them, and then meron din tayo mga counseling na nangyayari for these patients.
Yeah, because expensive is relative. Kasi katulad sa akin, I discovered late that I had glaucoma, and I learned late that glaucoma is hereditary. Although all along, I knew that my youngest sister had it. So parang sabi ko, oh wow, I wish somebody had heard about this stupid problem 20 years ago. Maybe we could have prevented the extent of injury to some relatives, di ba? So like with this cancer, if people can know that there is a hereditary predisposition, kasi meron namang one-off, di ba? Merong mga nagkaka-lung cancer, hindi naman naninigarilyo, wala naman smoker sa pamilya, pero yun siguro yung mga alarm bells, ano, yung mga you have a one-off in your family line. Teka, mukhang alert yan.
Yes, correct. Ang
Okay.
siguro in an ideal world talaga siguro, Sir Cito, is of course we want to screen all patients, no? Kasi as you know, colorectal cancer is one of the most preventable type ng cancer. But in reality kasi it's very difficult to do that, particularly in the country. Wala naman tayo ding parang national na screening program. But in ideal world, we want to screen all patients. But if you define kasi yung screening, it's really detecting yung mga at-risk na individuals. You have to identify those people. And sa atin, tinitingnan natin, of course, ang at-risk lang natin, of course, if you don't have symptoms, is kung 50 years old and older, no? Yun lang naman tinitingnan natin.
How do you but how do you test in the Philippines? Kasi alam ko for prostate, you have the PSA test na pag 50 and above ka, pare ko, magpa-blood test ka, but baka mamaya meron kang prostate cancer. Now, for colorectal cancer, how do you screen or test?
Ang pinaka-simple dyan, Sir Cito, is yung tinatawag na FOBT, no? Yung fecal occult blood testing. So, ine-examine yung dumi for occult blood. So, ibig sabihin yung dugo na hindi nakikita by the naked eye. So, yung ginagawa na. If that turns out to be positive, then mandatory that you go for a colonoscopy for further investigation. But again, wala tayong parang national na screening program for that, unlike in other countries wherein talagang every individual, pag tungtong mo ng 45, 50 years old, talaga makakatanggap ka ng letter na you should go. Dito kasi it's by choice eh. Punta ka sa doctor, and the doctor should parang find that as an opportunity to advise you, no, to go for this test. Oo.
Yeah,
So,
my wife who is from the Netherlands just told me that in the Netherlands, yung dati nating tinatawag na Holland, meron ng testing kit na you get a sample of your poop, yung dumi mo, and then sa bahay, matetest mo kung ikaw ay suspect for colorectal cancer.
Yun nga, Sir Cito, kaya nga ang inaano ko lagi, yung test should be it's supposed to be safe, convenient, and cheap, no? But then again, kung iisipin natin dito sa Pilipinas, ang inaano kasi natin is, we do that test, and then if the patient has to go for colonoscopy, a lot of this has to be out of pocket ng patient, and we cost
Pero
ng
at least
colonoscopy,
maganda yung
and of course yung
maganda yung na-share mo, Doc Joseph, that there is FOBT, Ano ba?
Fecal occult blood test.
Oh, okay. Kasi at least kasi hindi mo ako mapapapasok para magpa-colonoscopy. Sorry.
Yes.
Like a virgin.
Yeah, totoo yan, Sir Chito.
Kaya ko eh. Pero at least pwede pala ako magdadala ng stool or pakuha ko yung stool sample and matetest.
Yeah, yun yung minimum, Sir Chito. But first, may mga limitations yan. Siyempre, meron ding mga specificity and accuracy rate na tinatawag for FOBT. But really, kung titingnan yung recommendations, once you reach the age of 50 years old, mas maganda pa rin that you go for a colonoscopic na procedure.
Okay, let's go for a...
Going to be FOBT.
Okay, let's go for a quick break, Doc Joseph. And when we come back, please educate us or convince us why I should have you probe my behind. Okay? And pati ano yung sinasabi mo 2D echo kanina. We'll go for a quick break. And when we come back, let's educate ourselves because I'm trying to make light. But like I said, ladies and gentlemen, when you get a goodbye letter, it's not fun. Okay, so we'll be right back here on Agenda. Okay, welcome back to the program Agenda. With us is Dr. Joseph Fuentes. He is the section head. Okay, mabuti na nagkakasiguro. Baka ma-demote ko, ma-promote ko, mapagalitan ako. Okay, section head of Colorectal Surgery at the Rizal Medical Center. Dr. Joseph, you were talking, you said before the break that there is an existing minimum test for colorectal cancer, which is getting a stool sample, checking the stool for unseen blood particles, which will is a red flag, after which kailangan magpa-colonoscopy ka na. Now, anywhere I go, pag napag-usapan yung colonoscopy, ganun lagi. Okay, so why is it essential? How bad is it? And what was that 2D echo you were mentioning just before the break?
Okay, Sir Cito, walang 2D echo, no? 2D echo is for the heart, actually.
Sorry. Sabi ko parang nadinig ko. Sorry, wala na. Bangag na ang Kuya Cito.
Anyway, regarding colonoscopy, no, Sir Cito, bali, it's an endoscopic na procedure, no? It's done by gastroenterologists. We do it also as well, but it's mainly the gastroenterologist who does all this mga screening, no, for colorectal cancer. But we need to understand, yung difference between screening and then patients coming in with symptoms already. That's a bit different. So if the patient comes into you complaining of bleeding or blood in their stools that's gross, no, kitang-kita nila na meron tagang blood doon, hindi na screening tawag doon, no? So ang tawag na doon is it's an investigative type of colonoscopy that you want to investigate where the bleeding is coming from. At so pag sinabi mo screening, walang nararamdaman yung patient. The patient is asymptomatic. It's just that meron siya mga risk. No? And as I mentioned, meron nga talagang high risk, yung may mga tinatawag na familial adenomatous polyposis. Again, it's a hereditary condition wherein meron kang thousands and thousands of polyps sa colon mo simula nung bata ka. And inevitably, pagdating mo ng 20, 30 years old, 100% magkaka-colorectal cancer ka. It's a rare condition, pero napapasa-pasa yan. In fact, sa Rizal, meron kaming registry ng mga tao may mga ganyan. And then yung mga family nila, monitor namin. Again, yung na-mention ko kanina, yung hereditary non-polyposis colorectal cancer. Again, it's a hereditary condition. Genetic testing is required. Tapos meron mga criteria na kailangan kailangan nila ma-achieve para malaman natin na HNPCC sila. And another condition na again, emerging na rin in our country, very common sa Western world is yung tinatawag na inflammatory bowel disease. No? It's IBD or Crohn's disease. Na kung saan, kung meron ka niyan for the past 8 to 10 years, it's a chronic condition, it's a lifetime disease.
Pabalik-balik.
At risk ka. It's a high risk na feature. Then definitely kailangan mo magpa-colonoscopy even at a younger age. No?
Ano ba yung Crohn's disease na yan? Ano yung mararamdaman mo dyan?
Well, typically, Crohn's disease is a type of inflammatory bowel. So, inflammatory na mamaga yung colon.
Okay.
No? So, ang mga symptoms yan, it's very non-specific. A lot of these patients will come in parang bloody, na diarrhea, or a recent change in bowel. Hindi mo masasabi nga eh. Very non-specific symptoms. Laging masakit yung tiyan. No? And then, on investigation, biopsy, and mga sophisticated na mga imaging, saka siya lalabas. No? But it's an emerging disease. We're seeing a lot of these patients, nakikita namin sila, mas marami na ngayon.
Okay.
Kumpara before.
I don't want to compare humans with chickens, but being a chicken man, I can tell our audience that, when you have a patient that doesn't speak, your only choice is to look at the physical feature or to look at the poop. Okay? And sa manok po, kulay at kulay pa lang, alam na namin, nako, yan, katayin mo na yan, o yan, bigyan mo ng ganitong ganitong medicine, etc. We are able to tell. So, just monitoring your poop. Don't be turned off by your poop because it can give you warning signs. Now, let's go to colonoscopy. Talaga, ano ba talagang klaseng experience yan? Kasi, alam mo, yung susundutin ka sa puwet ng daliri, yung probe, yung mga feel na gano'n. And then, but I think colonoscopy, endoscopy, iba na yun. Na-endoscopy na ako, that's through the mouth, to find a injury in my throat. But colonoscopy, can you please explain it?
Yes. So, Sir Cito, kasi yung colonoscopy, well, as the name implies, para sa colon talaga yan. Para sa colon talaga. It's an endoscopic procedure wherein meron kaming ini-insert na around 150 centimeter na flexible na tube, no, sa puwet, no. It's done under conscious na sedation. So medyo gising pa din yung pasyente, he'll be aware, but most of them will not remember the procedure afterwards. So the procedure will usually take about 30 to 45 minutes. So yung tube na yon is connected to a camera sa TV, and through this nakikita natin the entire colon, and nakikita natin kung mayroong mga abnormality. Particularly what we are looking at for screening colonoscopy are yung tinatawag na mga pre-malignant na mga lesions, no, na mga polyps, that you can actually take out during the same setting. Kaya yan yung kagandahan ng colonoscopy, is that it's not only diagnostic, it's also therapeutic. So if you eradicate or remove that polyp, then zero na or nil na yung chance na for this patient to develop colorectal cancer in the future.
Kumbaga, nasilip na natin, di tanggalin na natin.
Correct, oo.
Same thing that happened with my angiogram. Nakita nila Dr. Marlo Mendoza at Dr. James Ho na may mga kanto yung ugat ko. Sabi ko, what are you gentlemen waiting for? You will make me come back again. Let's do this. Diba? So, practical diba? Pero, mahal ba yung colonoscopy? Una, well, first, people are scared or embarrassed. Is it painful?
Yung nga, no, Sir Cito, it's done under sedation, and nowadays napakaganda ng mga gamot natin na we can do the procedure with the patient being very comfortable. In fact, the procedure itself, wala ka mararamdaman eh. It's actually, ang pinaka-tedious part ng colonoscopy, it's actually the preparation. Because the night before, kailangan mo mag-take ng mga laxatives para
ano ba, barium ba yun?
Not really barium, hindi yung barium. Barium is for some X-ray no? It's really laxative siya, no? Para dumumi ka ng dumumi, para malinis yung colon mo the next morning, no? So yun lang yun, yung tedious part no, babalik ka sa CR, mga 5-6 times, tubig yung dinudumi mo.
Purgahin ka. Mas mabuti pa mag-prayer and fasting. Mag-prayer and fasting na kayo 3 days before the procedure para sandaling-sandali yung process, makover pa kayo ni Lord, di ba?
Yeah. But the procedure itself, very relaxed ka. Higa ka doon, and then yung anesthesiologist mo will give the medication. It's a day procedure, by the way. You don't have to be admitted to the hospital. Punta ka lang doon sa endoscopy suite, and then bigyan ka ng pampatulog, and then 30-40 minutes after the procedure, dadalhin ka sa recovery suite, and then siguro mga 1 hour to 1 hour and a half, pwede ka na umuwi. But of course, we advise patients to have someone to take them home kasi hindi sila makakapag-drive after.
Nagbibiro ako pero seryoso ako kasi I'm portraying the mentality of people sasabihin sa'yo, Doc, pwede bang pumili ng cute o ng gwapong nurse o magandang nurse? Kasi ayoko yung baka ikaw yung tutusok sa akin at tatakot ako.
Nakamask naman lahat yun, so mas maganda yung mata, Sir Cito.
Okay, but good point. No, because it's still there. That's still part of the anxiety. All of these stereotypings, this fear. Whether it's going to be a traumatic experience. But you say it's a day procedure. How long is the entire procedure?
Well, depende yan, pero generally, an average, mga 30 minutes, 30-40 minutes, no?
Okay.
Kasi dapat very thorough yung pag-examine ng colon. Kasi iba-iba yung size ng polyps, no? Mga polyps less than 10 millimeter, no? So you have to really look and really survey the colon properly, no? Kasi yung next colonoscopy niya, for all we know, kapag complete yung colonoscopy would be 3 to 5 years na. So you need to be very thorough.
Hindi pala yan annual. Okay, now, how soon before you get to know the results? Kasi that's the other anxiety. Kasi pag colonoscopy na, seryosong usapan na yan. Will the patient be told on the spot, boss, pass ka, boss, fail ka?
Well, we do that immediately after. No? Sabi ko nga, after the procedure, the patient is taken to the recovery room. They'll stay there for about mga 1 hour, an hour and a half. But immediately after that, no, once the patient is fully awake, medyo pinapakain na ng biscuit, no, umiinom na ng ano, then we talk to them regarding yung results. Kung merong biopsy no na something sinister, let's say may nakitang bukol na hindi maganda at biopsy lang namin, kailangan niya mag-follow up uli sa clinic, and then we'll wait for the results to come out. Usually mga 5 days yan, 5 to 7 days for a biopsy na histopathology to come out, and then we'll talk about the results. No, otherwise, kung clear yung colonoscopy niya, baka may isa pang visit just to advise them what's next, kung ano yung susunod na gagawin.
Okay, now, having talked to us about colonoscopy, what's next? The cost. Some people, of course, Rizal Medical Center is a publicly funded medical facility. It's one of the best in the country. Now, pero cost, you're a consultant in many hospitals. Are colonoscopy expensive?
Well, it's not really expensive. Actually, it's covered by PhilHealth, no. But of course, if you do it in a private hospital, kung wala kang like a health card or parang insurance, of course, mayroong mga out of pocket. Okay, but if you do it, let's say, in a government hospital, Rizal, very minimal yung nilalabas ng patient. In fact, we can actually, everything is covered by PhilHealth. No, lahat, even professional fees. Of course, sa government hospital, wala nang professional fees dyan, but yung hospital cost, equipment cost, will be covered by PhilHealth.
Yeah, yun ang hindi nalalaman ng maraming Pilipino, that in government hospitals, sa mga public hospitals po, am I correct, Dr. Fuentes, does this apply to all government hospitals? Wala nang mga sinisingil na professional fees, correct?
Yes po.
Ayun. Gusto ko lang reiterate yan, Doc, no? Kasi yung mga lumalapit, humihingi ng tulong, sinasabi ko, bakit ba kayo hindi pumunta dun sa ospital at magtanong muna? Kasi inuuna nyo yung katok bahay bago kayo pumunta dun sa punta doktor. Okay, so anyway, okay, so they're reasonable, if not affordable, and covered by PhilHealth. So the next question is, where would you take it from here, Dr. Fuentes? Kasi we're talking about colorectal cancer. Now, my friend or my wife's friend, she used to come here regularly, weekly. Now, she essentially is resigned that she's dying. Pero ano ba yun? Is colon cancer a death sentence in all cases?
Well, not really. As I've mentioned nga kanina, Sir Cito, it's the most preventable na cancer.
What do you mean by preventable?
Kasi meron siyang pre-malignant state wherein pag na-catch mo siya dun sa pre-malignant na state niya, hindi pa siya cancer, you can actually remove it, and then 100% hindi na magkakaroon yung patient ng cancer. No? And that can be removed by endoscopy. No? Hindi kailangan ng operation. It's just that yung colonoscopy lang, tatanggalin natin yung polyp na yon. Okay? Mm-hmm. In an average individual, a polyp based on yung tinatawag na adenoma carcinoma sequence will take about 10 years for that polyp to become cancer. But in certain individuals, medyo mas mabilis yung transformation, and that's the reason mas maganda talaga start yung colonoscopy na screening and see kung itong patient na to has a polyp. And then based on that findings, mas ma-tailor yung schedule ng colonoscopy niya. No?
Okay, like why is colonoscopy not part of the medical checkup? Kasi you're saving lives, and if you have 77,000 cases in 1 year, in 2020 alone, one would think, teka, dapat standard na yan, kasama na yan sa check-up, whether stool or in colonoscopy. Bakit hindi siya kasi sabi mo, dapat required lang siya sa, the standard is, when you hit 50, that's when you start testing regularly. Parang, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, yan siguro yung kailangan talaga nating trabahuhin in our country, no? Unlike in other countries, although hindi rin naman perfect, like the United States, hindi rin naman laging ganon. We still see inequality, no, diversity in the US. But yan siguro yung kailangan natin trabahuhin, no? Knowing na we need to educate people na pwede nating gawin yan. It can be part of yung yearly na physical na test for someone at yung ganitong age group, mga 50 years old, no? And it's really trabaho talaga ng bawat doktor, you know, to find that opportunity, no? Particularly patients 45, 50 years old and getting the family history, na sabihin sa kanila and advise patients to go for colonoscopy and let them know yung advantage, yung benefit in getting a colonoscopy at this particular age.
Okay, now, dyan sa Rizal Medical Center, because I just had a discussion with someone the other day. Medyo na-shock sila eh. Nung sinabi ko, teka, high-tech yung beloved RMC ko ha. Baka hindi nyo alam yung meron na silang cardiac lab, meron silang brachy, ewan ko kung anong tawag doon. Sabi ko yung Reagan ni Thor, sabi ko. But you know, I was being funny, but sabi ko RMC has the latest equipment. Now in the area of colorectal cancer, etc. May mga special equipment ba yan?
Well, not so special, ano. I mean, we make use, siyempre, ang staple namin dyan is the colonoscopy. At Rizal Med, we're already doing what we call minimally invasive na mga procedures. So, ibig sabihin, we don't really open up patients anymore, even for those with colorectal cancer. We use para mga keyhole na type of surgery wherein the patients would recover faster. Mas mabilis sila bumabangon, mas mabilis sila nakakauwi in 3 days time. Even if they had this major surgery, uuwi sila na less than 5 centimeter lang yung sugat nila. And that's really advantageous, particularly for mga elderly, no? Na ayaw natin silang matagal na nakahiga sa kama. And then, yung mga ultrasound that we also use, special ultrasound to stage cancer, yung mga MRIs na ginagamit natin as really part ng pagplan natin for yung planning for treatment strategy.
Do you do, ano ba tawag doon? Pasensya ka na, alam mo, sunog na yung utak ko, kakaisip eh. Yung chemo, kasi alam mo, a lot of people thought chemotherapy was radiation therapy, was parang machine. Yung pala, hindi ba chemo, gamot pala yun na sinasaksak sa ugat, tapos iba pa pala yung radiation. So, for colorectal cancer or such things, do you do chemo and radiation?
Okay, sabi ko nga, Sir Cito, sa Rizal kasi meron tayo dyang tumor clinic or cancer center.
Oh, okay.
And I always say na hindi importante yung team of experts no. So ang daming mga galing na doktor diyan. But what we actually can offer is we have an expert team. Remember in cancer care, particularly for colorectal cancer, you need an expert team from the outset, no, from the diagnosis hanggang so in fact, every colorectal cancer patients that we have, we always discuss them before we actually start the treatment process. And after that discussion, which we call a multidisciplinary team discussion, and we do it in Zoom platform na rin, is once we have a consensus from this expert team kung ano yung the best and tailored treatment for that patient, and then we lay it down to the patient. So hindi lang yung surgeon yung involved, yung medical oncologist may sarili siyang kwarto, yung radiation oncologist meron siyang sariling kwarto. It's all about having this expert team involved in that patient care. So yun siguro yung core ng treatment process namin.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, baka ma-mislead kayo, no? Dahil napaka-capable ng ating guest today and Englishero. Baka sabihin nyo kaming mga Englishero, we're talking about a private hospital. Hindi po. We're talking about Rizal Medical Center. It is a public hospital. Now, Dr. Fuentes, I guess my final question is this. I mean, you're treating poor people by and large, people who do not have the means to meet these challenges. Now, how does it happen? Paano yung may pupunta dyan, dinudugo na sa puwet, etc. Then you find out he or she has colorectal cancer. Do you guys even check ano ba ang background niyan, financial, etc.? O wala talagang you're there to serve and to heal?
So, kasama yun, Sir Cito, when we talk about patients, so kasama lagi yung demographics, where they come from, and then yung financial na capability nila. In fact, meron tayong social service, meron tayong malasakit dyan sa Rizal, that actually helps these people. In fact, yung next project namin is to have what we call yung patient navigator. Yung patient navigator kasi it's an individual that really looks after this patient, from, syempre meron kaming plan for this patient, and mention ko lang, colon, rectal, medyo magkaiba yung approach sa kanilang dalawa. Mas complex yung sa rectal cancer because for rectal cancer, you might need radiation and chemotherapy sa simula pa lang bago pa kami mag-opera. So, yun, ang purpose nitong navigator na to is to really help this patient navigate dun sa sistema. Kasi alam naman natin yung difficulty na a lot of these patients, even pamasahe, wala sila.
I praise you, I praise Dr. Rica Lumage, I praise the hospital for coming up with that concept because iyan po ang palagi ang challenge o hinaharap ng mga ordinaryong mamamayan at yung mga mangmang na when they go to the hospital, takot na takot sila. They're so, overwhelmed. They're scared and they don't know what to do. Kuminsan, tumatayo na lang sa isang tabi at yung isa na lang nakasamang mangungulit. So having that kind of a system really works. Now, my last question, Dr. Fuentes, when people say you have colon cancer, rectal cancer, sabi mo nga kanina, pwedeng gamutin kagad, madali kagad, early detection is really good, pero ano ba talaga? Kasi my friend said goodbye. Is that something that happens because it was discovered late?
Okay. Well, yun nga, ang key kasi sa colon cancer is colon and rectal cancer. Early detection, of course, pinakamaganda to prevent it. Early detection naman could really improve yung outcome, So stage 1, 90%, 5-year survival. Stage 2, 60 to 80% na survival. Stage 3, mga nasa 50%. But now even stage 4, with the type of treatment and the multidisciplinary team na involved in this treatment process, even sila, they can go beyond 5 years. And 5 years is actually very important for cancer patients kasi napaplano nila lahat. And even yung family medicine, yung involvement ng primary doctor in terms of talking to these patients, yung spirituality, even yung spirituality, ini-involve natin yan. So, holistic approach to cancer patients. I think it's very important.
Well, thank you for that input, Dr. Fuentes. So, whether you nip it at the bud or nip it at the puwet, or whether you have 5 years, 5 years is 5 years. That gives us hope. Thank you for your time today, Dr. Joseph Fuentes, and to the Rizal Medical Center Management, Dr. Rica Lumage. And have a good day, Doc.
Thank you very much, Sir Cito.
Okay, let's now go to our closing blessing for the week. Chapter 9, verse 8 of 2 Corinthians. And God is able to make all grace abound toward you, that you always having all sufficiency in all things, may have an abundance for every good work. Thank you for joining us, and allow me to remind you, make the most of each day. Call a friend. If you think of someone, call them, and at least we will be saying hello, not goodbye. God bless all of you.